Okay. Nice program.
I appreciate that.
Okay. For the people. Yeah. Tonight's program. Jessica. Tonight's program. All right.
I'll make an announcement to this
Program. So. So.
And he sent us that email, right?
Jimmy done lost his mind.
And then review administration up first. LCI, and we'll go into these.
Yeah, you know.
We will now call this meeting to order. New Haven Board of Alders Joint Community Development, Health and Human Services Committee will meet in person on Thursday, April 27th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Board of Alders Chambers, 165 Church Street, New Haven, to hear from city department and agencies with software proposals concerning LM-2023-0214, order of the New Haven Board of Alders of the City of New Haven approving City of New Haven's 2023 to 2024 Annual Action Plan Statement of Activities and Use of Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Home Investment Partnership, Home, Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, HOPWA, and Emergency Solutions Grants, ESG, funds to be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for federal financial assistance for planning and community development activities under the provisions of Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, PL 93-383, the Cranston-Gonzalez National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended, PL 101-625, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act of 2000 as amended, PL 106-400, the Homeless Emergency Assistance and Rapid Transition to Housing HERF Act of 2009, and the AIDS Housing Opportunity Act, PL 102-550, hereafter referred to as Housing and Community Development Program Acts, and for activities to be funded by program income and / or reprogramming funds from prior grant years. This item is on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street. Per order, Honorable Alex Guzne and Honorable Frank Douglas Jr., co-chairs, attest Honorable Michael Smart, City Town Clerk. If you need an accessibility related accommodation, please contact 203-946-7651, voice, or 203-946-8582 TTY. In accordance with the City of New Haven COVID-19 requirements, all attendees must wear masks. Public may send comments or public testimony at newhavenct.gov, and this meeting can be viewed on the Board of Alders YouTube page. So before we get started, I'll just have my colleagues introduce themselves, starting from my right.
Brian Wingy, Ward 29, Community Development.
Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6, Community Development Chair.
Alex Guzne. Oh, you're here. Thank you. Alex Guzne, Chair of Health and Human Services.
Joyce Streeter, Ward 21, Health and Community Services, Public Safety.
Eli Saban, Ward 7, Health and Human Services.
So before we get into the night of public testimony, we'll first have city staff helping run the consolidated plan process come up first. First, Ms. Schroeder from city staff. Yeah, thank you. And name and address for the record, please.
Kathy Schroeder. You can move that closer to you. Much easier for you. Thank you.
Kathy Schroeder, 170 Borman Road, East Haven, Connecticut, 06512. I'm here before you in reference to the Livable City Initiative CDBG budget. We are going to go through page 69 in the book, LCI Acquisition, LCI Economic Development, and LCI Property Management. We are asking for $35,000 in acquisition, $288,966 in economic development, $298,227 in property management. They're all project delivery costs, with the exception of $10,000 in economic development for program money and property management for program money. These leverage other funding to run the code enforcement, our property management team, and our Main Streets project. Last year, from January 22 to March 31st of 23, the property management division removed about 770,000 pounds of trash from the neighborhoods, which is about 385 tons. They dealt with 2,567 referrals for blight. They maintained about 180 properties. And code enforcement, they did about 2,848 inspections for Section 8, 9,303 residential licensing inspections, and 5,893 housing code inspections, and a total of about, what am I gonna say, 15 months. So we'll move on to page 72, which is your LCI public improvement funding, which is used for facility improvements. This also is project delivery in the amount of $25,000, which is to run that program. In the last 15 months, there was about 25 facility improvements programs in our neighborhood. About $1.3 million was spent in the last 15 months. We're going to move on to page 72. Wait a minute. That was public improvements, right? 75, which is residential rehab, which is that's also project delivery of $387,181. That supports our residential rehab programs, our housing development programs. And at the moment, we're in the process in the pipeline of 1,386 units, 912 of them being affordable, and 477 being market. That also helps out with elderly emergency if we run out of funding there, or if we run out of funding for an energy efficiency program. If you move to page 93, that was our home funding. That is federal funding given to us for housing development specifically, and it is broken up between total set aside, which is a requirement that a percentage of our allocation goes to community housing development organizations. We also fund our down payment and assistance program, our energy efficiency and rehabilitation assistance program, and housing development, which is affordable housing development at 80% AMI and under. And then there's home administration in that, and that is a project delivery cost as well. That is regulatory up to 10%. See, I got that. And so right now, in the last, since 2022, we've completed about 736 units. We've done about 554 of those are affordable, 182 are market. And our energy efficiency program in the last 15 months assisted 16 homeowners, 475,000. Our energy efficiency our elderly repair program helped 5 elderly disabled homeowners, about 70,000. And our down payment helped 6 new homeowners at 109,000. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to recognize Alder Kimberly Edwards has joined us. And now I'll ask if any colleagues have any questions.
No.
Alder Saber?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering for the housing development programs that LCI does, if you have any sort of estimated general cost per unit of the development programs?
It's going to depend on the developer and the financing package that goes along with it. So like, for example, the housing authority's units run around 500,000 a unit due to the financing structure, which is low-income housing tax credits. And there's fees, about $1 million worth of fees that go with those CHAPA. We like to stay between about, since COVID, prior to COVID, it was about 376,000 a unit. Now it's about 450,000 a unit.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Okay, seeing none, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll begin with the nonprofits or other projects. First on our list, we have youth entrepreneurs from Makita Joyner McGraw. Is she here tonight? And before we get into testify, we'll just make a quick announcement. We'd like people's testimony to be kept to maximum 5 minutes. Try to aim around 4 minutes if possible. We have a long list tonight, and we also want to have time for questions. So just keep that in mind. Thank you. And again, masks are a requirement. If you're up here to testify, you may pull it down just if for some reason voice can't get through as well. But yeah, name and address for the record, please.
You can move it. Okay. Hi, Lakita McGraw, Youth Entrepreneurs, 1441 Dixville Avenue, Union, Connecticut.
May proceed.
The reason why I'm here requesting additional funding for our Youth Entrepreneurs Youth Development Program.
Page 91 for the colleagues.
The program.
I'll give it 1 second.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
All right, you can go ahead. Sorry about that.
So Youth Entrepreneurs, we have been around for 3 years, and we have been a great asset to the city of New Haven, and we've had a lot of partnerships, not only with the city of New Haven, but the agencies that are funded through the city of New Haven, such as Youth at Work, where we're able to take students and actually the whole framework of Youth Entrepreneurs is providing them with programming that will allow them to have a better understanding of entrepreneurship, STEM, as well as workforce development. We do a lot of preparing our young students who have an interest in entrepreneurship, but what makes us different because we call ourselves Generation Genius. And we find that when students have some type of representation and reflection, and we do that with our curriculum, and this way that we can promote this awareness of not only just STEM, career readiness, and workforce development, but we have been doing some additional programming where students are coming into our program, but we want to connect them with credentials. And so with that, we partner up with local colleges such as Southern Connecticut State University and the University of New Haven. And so with the additional funding, we want to be able to give them a college credit. And this is something that can improve their awareness of college and also improve and give them the skill that they need for the workforce.
Thank you. Are there any questions from colleagues? All the please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one question. How many students, New Haven students, were in your program last year?
So we were able to serve over 100 students from the city of New Haven, but we have been expanding with our after school programming, collaborating with other organizations. So it is expanding.
Thank you.
Alderman Gay?
Thank you, Chair. This is the first time that I've been up for CDBG money.
This is, well, we actually received a very generous amount last year for the 22-23. And then this year, we actually put an application in for renewal, and we're asking for more.
Okay. I see what you was awarded. There's a significant gap. Have you been doing any kind of, reaching out to other entities around trying to get funding?
Yes, we have been utilizing not only just crowdfunding, grants, sponsorships, and actually forming those collaborations with the university that allow us to use their facility to help supplement some of the offset some of the costs.
Thank you.
Any other colleagues have any questions? I have one question. Could you maybe talk a little bit about some of the students you've seen? Maybe just give a quick story of maybe a student that you think came into the program, maybe not necessarily knowing too much or a little bit shy, just so I can get an idea.
Of course. So we have different types of students that come in. What makes our program unique that oftentimes, even with our summer programming, if you look at some of the programs, most programs don't offer special education. So we do have some students who may be on the autism spectrum. And they come in and we provide that extra support. And what we found that parents are saying, a lot of the summer programs, a lot of these programs are not helping our students who have special needs. Typically in the school setting, you do have, and a lot of programs are not sensitive to students who are who have special needs. So we do make sure that we collaborate with other organizations that can be a support system for us. And a lot of those, our students with special needs or not, parents are coming back and saying, the number one thing that students are remembering is that college experience. Never thought about going to college, but when we bring in guest speakers, we bring in guest speakers that look like them. We want to make sure that we serve our Black and brown communities. And so when we bring in guest speakers, they look like them. Whether it's a community leader, whether it's a CEO, a minority-owned business here in New Haven. And so that just empowers our kids. And so now they have this skill set of entrepreneurial. That means being creative, innovative. This is a skill set that they can use not only just in education, but for the workforce.
Thank you so much for the answer. Do I see any more questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Winning Ways, Andrew Redenti, page 91, right above. Yeah, sure. Name and address for the record before.
Andrew Redenti, address is 279 North Main Street, Brantford, Connecticut, Winning Ways Incorporated.
And I'm Benjamin Baptist, founder, one of the founding members of Winning Ways.
May we proceed?
Yeah. So Winning Ways is an organization we started about 6 years ago now, based on the idea. Basically, the idea that everybody
Gotcha.
So we founded Winning Ways 6 years ago. The idea that everybody deserves a second chance in life. Myself, I had pretty much the most amazing second chance I could ever ask for. And so what we do is we teach people how to relearn, how to live their lives in a beneficial way to both themselves and society after coming out of incarceration or dealing with substance abuse. And so we are asking for funding for our financial literacy program, which teaches individuals all of the financial skills necessary to have a successful and stable life in society. and also for our empowerment courses, which teach them all the emotional and behavioral skills to also live in society. And we provide the support structure and all of the architecture, both educational and behavioral, for them to do that.
All right, thank you. Any colleagues have any questions? I have one. I know in the application it mentions you all provide services in collaboration with various New Haven-based organizations. Could you maybe talk a little bit more about that and which organizations, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. I should say that mostly Ben and Kevin are the boots on the ground around here. I'm actually living in New York, finishing my medical program still, actually 6 years later.
And I can speak to, I can definitely speak to that. So Project More, Emerge, Connecticut are two major organizations. And also, we're in Waterbury as well. I know that's not really important tonight, but we have numerous other halfway houses. Emerge has been a huge partner with us. And then we're also working with a bunch of the schools, Yale, Southern, Albertus, University of New Haven, to really build out and just try to provide as many services as possible. And a big piece here is we worked with, I think, about 120 individuals last year with financial literacy, opening up bank accounts for the vast majority of them. Our program is also very much founded on lived experience. So in the facilitators of our courses are individuals who have experience, or have shared experiences to all of the clients. And I think that really speaks magnitudes, because a credible messenger to show that it's everything in getting buy-in. And the next step to our financial literacy program is we really want to be able to expand to our pre-employment programs, which we are taking an innovative approach with partners with some different kind of tech organizations to really try to do really assessments that match individuals' passions and expertise to identifiable roadmaps for long-term employment. So when they are coming out of incarceration, the idea, oh, I'm going to get this minimum wage job, that's not going to be intrinsically meaningful whatsoever. And there's just a high appeal to go back to potentially the behaviors that led them to incarceration in the first place, where we hope by helping them buy into their future and come up with a real roadmap, even if it doesn't seem obtainable in the moment, but they're able to break it down into digestible chunks that they'll be able to walk that course. That, along with financial literacy, which we intentionally used as our first course that we employed, because if you can't manage your own money, it all goes downhill from there, right? So what we're asking for funding for really is to continue to provide as much financial literacy services, but more importantly at this point is to take the next step in our roadmap and really be able to provide our meaningful employment services or pre-employment services.
Thank you for the answer. Any colleagues, any questions? I'd also like to first recognize Alder Miller has joined us. Alder Saban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering if you could speak to how many of the folks you serve are from New Haven versus from surrounding towns.
Yeah, so the vast majority are New Haven based. Again, a lot of the work we do are in the halfway houses or organizations that are centered in New Haven. To give an exact number, probably around 80, I would say. And then the rest are going to be surrounding areas. We recently began working, as I said, in Waterbury. So that's where the other majority of our clients come from.
Thank you. 80%? Or
about 80 of the 120 that we served this year.
Got it.
Yeah. And that's a rough estimate, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from colleagues? Seeing none, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
We're going to have the Greater New Haven OIC come up, please.
Page 90.
Page 90.
Page 90, colleagues. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. The Greater New Haven OIC.
The Greater New Haven OIC is located at 333 Valley Street in New Haven, Connecticut, 06515.
You may proceed.
Thank you. The Greater New Haven OIC has provided employment training and employment services for low to moderate income residents of New Haven since 1967. For the last 20 years, OIC has primarily focused on healthcare related training and employment. In this effort, this agency provides CNA or certified nurse assistant, phlebotomy technician assistant, and patient care technician training. We provide scholarships at no cost to the client. In this grant proposal, OIC is seeking to provide training for 30 additional clients in the programs I mentioned earlier. All the funding is requested for training. OIC has consistently maintained a 95% employment placement rate and almost 94% training completion rate. Each year, about 50 trainees complete our CNA training program, our training programs with certificates, licenses, and employment opportunities. About 40 employment placements are made each year. One of the ways that we match our clients with employers is to hold employment workshops in which the employer is there in person with our trainees to give direct answers, applications, and to provide information. In closing, I just want to remind you that there is currently a nursing shortage and healthcare provider shortage in the state of Connecticut. And certainly more healthcare professionals are needed. You know, the COVID pandemic is not over. And many nurses have retired since then. And this is a great opportunity to allow OIC to increase its number of clients and provide additional opportunities. So this grant will and can make a real difference for us in our community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. I'll ask if any colleagues have any questions. Alderman Miller?
Thank you for the presentation. I see the mayor's recommended 5,000 of the 49,000 you requested. Could you talk about if you received 5,000, what, if anything, you could do with that?
The cost of training has increased by about 30% over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 years. And I know the mayor, $5,000 doesn't go very far these days. It's just.
Could you train fewer people or?
With what? Okay, to train a CNA, one CNA is $1,250.
Okay,
So you can
thank
see.
you. Thank you.
Doesn't quite make it.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other colleagues, any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
The next presenter will be Next Level Empowerment.
87.
Hello, good evening. Yes, it is quite a few minutes.
I will pass this around. I would like to say my name is Jacqueline James. It is a privilege and an honor to be here before you, having served on this board for 13 years, and also having chaired this committee several times. So, I will be honest with you, the last time I was here, I was asked to resign for the very thing that I'm coming to do today, and that's to advocate for Black and brown people in our community. So we are here. We are Next Level Empowerment Program. We started in October of 2022 in Alderman Carmen Rodriguez's ward. We are a social and emotional support program for returning citizens. We were birthed out of the fact that there are no real services here in the city of New Haven for returning citizens in regards to providing social and emotional support. I will let the folks at the table introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about their story. So, Shalice.
Hi, my name is Shalice Jacobs, born and raised. Hi, my name is Shalice Jacobs, born and raised in New Haven. I'm currently.
Just a second, so we're gonna need your name and address for the record, please. Everyone who's gonna be speaking, thank you all.
Yes, my name is Shalice Jacobs, 211 Alden Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut. I am currently the grant writer for NLEP. I am also the founder and CEO of Organic Experiences Only, which is the first mobile listening lounge collective in the world. I am here in efforts to help my community and be supportive to the efforts of NLEP. As you may know, that the statistics show that recidivism is high here in New Haven, and with me being a part of the New Haven community, have firsthand knowledge of how this program can be of assistance to people, specifically youth. When returning citizens return home, oftentimes they are faced with multiple challenges and have no resources in the city of New Haven, which ultimately affects the youth population here, which is my primary concern. And with the Warm Line being funded, I believe that the services that an LEP will offer will certainly help the families of those returning citizens.
And what I'm going to ask is just that everybody introduce themselves, and then we can get into the purpose of why we're here for funding, which is the Warm Line.
And again, if you could just give name and address, that'd be great for us. Thank you.
My name is Kyle Alexander. I'm currently residing in the halfway house, Walter Brooks, 690 Howard Ave. I served 22 years of incarceration.
My name is Ray Boyd. I live on 194 West Street, New Haven, Connecticut. I'm also a returning citizen. I'm a juvenile lifer in the state of Connecticut. I've served 30 years of incarceration and I've been home for 17 months.
And for you need
All right, Gable Salters, returning citizen, 282 Ashley Street in the city of New Haven.
I'm Shelton Adams. I'm a returning citizen as well. I've served 30 years and 7 months. As a juvenile offender, I reside at 5 Redwood Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
My name is Nicholas Aponte. I reside in 38 BoA Avenue, and I did 23 years of a 38-year sentence, and I was released under the Juvenile Reform Act.
My name is Michelle Coleman. I'm a returning citizen, 57 Long Meadow Avenue, and I've served 10 years.
Good evening, good evening. My name is Shantae Corey. My address is 7 Southwest Street, Raleigh, North Carolina. I was born and raised in New Haven and a former federal correctional officer and probation officer.
And we want to thank Shantae. She actually flew in to be a part of this. And this program is that important to the city of New Haven. So we started this journey in regards to providing emotional and social support to returning citizens. We are looking to start a Warm Line. There are housing programs, I will say that. There are training programs. But when we talk about trauma, trauma of those returning home, the trauma that the families feel when they're returned back home, the lack of support and services in this city for returning citizens and their family. It really is a travesty. We are looking to start a warm line, a 24-hour warm line, where we can provide the support for returning citizens and their families. As you know, most agencies close at 5 o'clock, but the issues don't stop. The trauma doesn't stop, right? And so what we're looking to do is a peer-to-peer warm line. The warm line will be manned by returning citizens. We're not looking to replace agencies. What we're looking to do is make appropriate referrals. We're looking to create a pipeline, a coordinated service of care. We're looking to refer those that call for services and support to the programs that are coming to you today and yesterday looking for funding. Returning citizens need to be navigated to a system. And we're asking for a partnership with the City of New Haven to do this. We've met with Dr. Delisle, we've met with Dejanay, we've met with Mr. Parks. The mayor gave us a letter of support last week for a social equity grant. But this is very important to the city. You know, we tried to create this pipeline many years ago where families and youth and those coming home can call into, and somehow it was just dropped. And we're saying we're here to help create that with the City of New Haven. We're currently providing services to approximately 44 returning citizens. And when I say service, we navigate them to medical, we place people in treatment, we also have access to housing, but everything we've done thus far has been out of pocket. So we're filling a void that is here. And we are really about partnerships. We're not looking to be the clinical provider or the housing provider. We're looking to provide these men and women to the appropriate services. They can tell you, they haven't been a part of any program since they've been home because there are no programs. Everyone doesn't come home on paper. Everyone's not forced into transitional living. Everyone's not forced to report to a program, but there's still real trauma. After serving 10, 15, 20, 30 years, there's trauma. They're coming home to families who do not know them. And there needs to be work in these homes. And so we are here advocating for dollars. We are hoping that the city can actually give us the real dollars to do this, but also a partnership with the City of New Haven to do this. It's important for your wards. It's very important. These are the men and women that will be going out to the homes. These are the men and women that will be manning the phone lines to provide the services of care, coordinated care. We've partnered with the Yale Medical Transition Clinic. So when someone calls, an assessment will be taken. They will be referred immediately to medical for a medical assessment and a clinical assessment. We partnered with the Yale Undergraduate Prison Project, who is actually helping us build capacity in this program. We've been contacted by the Social Equity Committee in Hartford, who is looking to partner with us to get the word out about social equity around the City of New Haven. We've met with many of the older people to talk about the planning project that we're looking. But really, we're asking at least the Black and Hispanic caucus to work with us on this because, you know, the recidivism rate is high. Approximately 900 men and women return back to the City of New Haven annually from prison. And for there to be no net to catch them, no program, no service, really, we must do something. And New Haven has the highest amount of incarcerated people in the state of Connecticut, the highest. So thank you. So myself, I am the founder along with my husband, Ray Boyd. We are both from New Haven and Hill residents.
So, yeah, I just prepared a statement today. Dear honorable members of the New Haven City Board of Alders, I am here today representing the Next Level Empowerment Program, a nonprofit organization committed to supporting the successful reentry of individuals returning to our community after a term of incarceration. We are here to request community development block grants to continue our efforts in assisting those who have been incarcerated to reintegrate into society. As we all know, incarceration is a difficult and challenging experience for individuals and their families. However, the real struggle begins when they return to society. The challenges these individuals face when they come home include finding employment, housing, and access to social services, which are crucial to their successful reintegration into society. Our organization has been working diligently to assist individuals returning from incarceration in these areas. Through our programs, we offer job training, mentoring education, and other supportive services that provide individuals with the necessary skills and resources to reintegrate successfully. We believe that everyone deserves a second chance, and our organization is committed to providing the necessary support to help individuals achieve that goal. We are here today to request funds for our reentry services through Community Development Block Grant These grants will enable us to expand our programs, reach more individuals, and provide even more support to those who need it the most. With this funding, we plan to expand our job training program, provide more affordable housing options, and offer additional services such as the Warm Line to assist with transportation as well as healthcare and other needs. By doing so, we hope to help these individuals become productive members of our society and reduce the recidivism rate in their communities. In conclusion, we thank you for your time and consideration in this matter. We believe that our reentry services are essential to the success of individuals returning from incarceration and the betterment of our communities. We are committed to making a positive impact on the lives of those we serve, and with your support, we can continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimonies, and thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you.
I'll ask if any colleagues have any questions. Alder Wingate?
I really don't have a question, I have a comment. I'm in awe of y'all coming in, y'all carriage coming up here tonight. Staying with Jackie. Jackie, you can have your seat anytime you get ready. You know how to use your 5 minutes, very strong. I just want to commend y'all and, for doing what y'all doing. And when I came in tonight, I came in with this gentleman right here in the elevator, just talking about the next level. So y'all keep doing what y'all doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any colleagues? Alder Streeter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you said that it'd be a 24-hour line, and there isn't anything like that in existence at this time, correct?
There is nothing like that in existence. Actually, a lot of states are actually doing warm lines specifically for returning citizens. California did one last year and had 10,000 calls. So there is definitely a need. And it's manned through community health workers or case managers, but it's peer-to-peer. So I won't be manning the warm line. It is the men and women that were previously incarcerated. They will go through a training in order to understand the purpose and intent of the warm line and to address a lot of the issues. So it's to provide a listening ear. It's to provide referral services. It's to provide advice. It's to talk somebody off the cliff. It's to deal with domestic violence issues. It's to deal with suicidal, ideations and refer people to proper care and services. And what we found is that we are already doing that. We get calls every single day. These men and women will tell you they've called us, other people have called us. We got a call from a mother in Windsor last week. We got a letter, we placed 2 people in treatment last week. So we are already doing the work. Now, can we maintain it? Absolutely not. We can't afford to maintain it. It's really coming out of our pocket. And we really need to hire staff in order to be effective, right? And we want to do this in a very effective, efficient way. And in order to do that, we need to provide proper training. But we really want to do this in partnership with the city. The city has been trying to establish a reentry program in-house, a reentry office in-house, and as we all know, it has not worked. And what we're saying, we're here to help do that. We're here to even have the initial conversation about what this could and should look like for the city of New Haven. But for the city of New Haven to be a major city, to have the most people incarcerated, to have 900 people returning home every year, and not even recognize that April is National Second Chance Month, because the city's not doing anything. And that's not fair to any of us in the city. Never mind those that are coming home, but the people that are living here, right, and receiving incarcerated people in their home. And families want services. Families want support. So there's nothing like it here in the state of Connecticut. We would be the first.
Can I? Yeah, I feel that everything that you have said here tonight is very much a need for it. And I think it's kind of brilliant that you thought of all these different avenues and different things, because these needs are needed. People come home and there isn't resources there for them, so what are they to do? So I think that next level there's definitely a need for it. Thank you.
And the reality is the Board of Aldermen can actually decide to put more funds into this, other than what we were told was we can only apply for $10,000. And I know, yes, we were told that we can only apply for $10,000. And I know that that is not true, having served on this board, having stood on the floor and changed the dollars to me exactly, that's what we were told. Do not anticipate to even get any more than $10,000. So, and I know that's not true, but we followed protocol and we followed the guidelines, but the city can actually fund any program they choose to with CDBG dollars. So I apologize for interjecting.
I'll have Alder Edwards, she has a question.
I have a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I look at your funding request, well, it's showing 20,000 here. In your leverage funding section, I see some foundations, but it says have not been requested yet.
So we have started. So at the time when we filled that out, we really had just established. We have been reaching out. We reached out to Graustein. We reached out to the Community Foundation. Again, the Yale Undergraduate Prison Project is also helping us with funds. But let me tell you the challenge for startup organizations. You have to have dollars to leverage more dollars, which is so unfair. It really is. And that's why we're looking for a partnership with the city, because the city can actually apply for federal dollars and partner with an organization to do this. So it will never get done with a startup, right? Because you gotta have dollars in order to leverage more dollars. And you gotta have dollars to hire grant writers, right? You need someone to actually effectively write your grant. So when we started this, and we started this, I think in December, when we met with several official holders, we were just new. We got our 501c3 in October. And so that's when we really kind of started putting things in motion. But we were doing this work actually a year, almost 2 years prior to that. So.
Thank you. And I just have one more part B to my question. Your mechanism, your 24-hour warm line, your referral services, everything you're doing. Is it like of course, we want you to service who you can service, but how are you going to primarily service New Haven residents?
So the warm line probably eventually will be statewide. Most of the warm lines, your 2-on-1 warm line started as in one area. Your teen warm line started by one area, and it just grew. And it probably will grow eventually. So with the city partnering for federal dollars, which CDBG is federal dollars, right? So federal dollars, and then asking the state and other organizations. We've met with some of the state delegation about this. So it needs to start somewhere. It needs to start in a city somewhere. It needs to be started by someone in a city somewhere. We're from New Haven. So we are looking to start in New Haven. We've been servicing New Haven, and this probably will grow. More than likely it will grow, and it's growing already. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem too.
Alder Shaver has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for being here, for what you're doing. I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you connect with people who are coming home, who are in the community, how they find out about the warm line, and how they know the number to call.
Right. So these gentlemen can talk to you more about that, because they are the ones that everybody calls all day, all night.
If we could just, sorry, my interruption. We could just have one person maybe, just so we can kind of get to everybody else as well. But we appreciate, again, everything.
All right, so I didn't get to speak as far as how much time I did, but I did 20 years, and I started a company while I was in there. So I'm a returning citizen. I only been home for 9 months. And I know what she's talking about. When you do it out of your pocket, it gets costly, because I've been experiencing that myself. But from the time that I came home, actually, before I came home, I had been in talks with Ray about what's going on in our city, what we're going to do in our city. And right now, many people might not understand it, but what you're seeing is next level, and it is going to be epic. Because when I came home, imagine they're doing this work out of pocket. They can't offer me anything, but our goals align. And being that our goals align, just being in their presence, and we talking about these things, I come out to support campaigns, whatever it is, to bring the city in. And that right there kept me in line, and it's keeping me moving forward, knowing that people who look like me, people who come from what I come from, for the first time in history, are going to be coming home to a tangible program that you can feel, and you get that support. I didn't know much about the warm line, but I could have benefited from the warm line last night from something so simple as a disconnect with technology. I'm doing so much work, but I had a disconnect with technology last night that really, really threw a monkey wrench and just put me in a tailspin. So I could have called somebody on that warm line for that little thing, because you have those little things so micro that can set things off and create something that is macro. But if you have a bridge that we can cross to keep that from happening, it would be great. And so that's why this is so important.
But so to answer his question, he wanted to know, how do we get the word out? And someone can answer, yeah, because it's out, we get calls every day.
So one of the things that we strategically did, so I served 22 years, is because we have so much relationships within the prison environment and the prison community that now, as y'all know, calls are free now. So most of us probably get at least, I get like at least 6 calls a day. If that's like, understatement, right? And one of the things we strategically do, right, is send the information inside, right? And building community, right? Because we know that at some point, these individuals want to be released, such as myself, and we know that you can give people some things and stuff, but we need the social, emotional healing, right? To deal with the trauma aspect, right? Just yesterday, right, was an example of when I needed the warm line. I called on my brother right here. My daughter, right, was a victim of a violent act in Bridgeport at 8:15, right? So this is after the time period, right? And my first reaction, right, was, wow, somebody called my daughter. Her mother called me hysteric. I had to go to St. Vincent's Hospital. I stood there till like 1 o'clock. And so I called on my brother, right? To not get back in the and I have Texas, you all right? What's going on? How's everything? You all right? Just maintain, take a breath, So these are the things, right, that real life experience, that individuals that have real life experience, right, can talk somebody down the edge. And I was infuriated. Yesterday I was infuriated going to Bridgeport, knowing that she lost her teeth, her eyes were shut. So, and it's like, I was an emotional roller coaster, because thanks to the warm line, right, the unofficial warm line, right, it provided me that step down, walk it down, and that's the importance that we need. I believe that he called me first thing this morning, and I know, right, a fact is that if you have this in New Haven, that we can target, right, spaces where we can reduce violence, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of the violent acts or returning citizens, sometimes it's based rapid, right? A rapid response of what you know, right? But if you have someone that can call and, that can relate, right? Like let's I'm be honest, right? Most of these, a lot of organizations, right, say that they have lived experience. I am lived experience. We all lived experience. I served 22 years in prison. I went to prison when I was 20 years old, came home when I was 42. I'm a CNA. I came home and got myself together. I became a CNA. So it's like, these are the things that the next level helped me in, achieving.
So just to answer this question, everyone knows about us. I mean, everyone has my number. Anybody that knows me know everybody has my number. We had 2 counselors from Cheshire come to our program yesterday. That's how much the system is buying into. So the word is out statewide about next level. And it's out more and more. So people get free phone calls, they call us. And the lady that actually championed the free phone calls, she's on our board. So the word is spreading statewide. So just to answer your question.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much all for your testimony. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
I'd like to take the time to also recognize Alder Nicola for joining us and Alder Crespo.
At this time, I'm going to ask Downtown Evening Soup Kitchen, Inc. to come forward.
Page 72.
72 and then the restaurant 78.
72 and 78 for companies.
Name and address for the record, please.
Steve Warren, 24 Alden Avenue. Thank you all for inviting me here and for doing all this. This is being okay. No, it's not.
Move it closer to your
Is this on?
Yes.
Okay. I'll restate that. Steve Warland, 24 Alden Avenue, Downtown Evening Soup Kitchen. Thank you all very much for having me and for hearing us out tonight. This is a fun job you all have getting to hear from all these great nonprofits and social service agencies in town. So thank you for giving us this time. For those who aren't aware or aren't familiar with Downtown Evening Soup Kitchen, although I'm looking around this table and I think everyone probably is aware of our organization, but even still, we've been around for 36 years, operating just off the New Haven Green. Our mission is to serve people experiencing homelessness and living in poverty by providing food assistance and services that promote health, community, and equity. Throughout our history, we have done an evening meals program, which is one of the CDBG proposals that's under review tonight. We've also been doing a food pantry program for about 15 years. That's also one of our three proposals that's in the budget tonight to discuss. And then the third program is a relatively new program, our Drop-In and Resource Center over on State Street that opened in April of 2021, and that is also on there. So just reviewing real quick, I'm not sure if you want me to talk about.
Those are all on page 7.
I'm not sure if you want me to talk about each in turn, maybe give you an opportunity to ask questions about each program. Would that be the easiest way to do it?
Yeah, I think if you could, maybe 30 seconds or a minute. 30 seconds is maybe a little too short, but a minute for maybe each. And then colleagues can also read as you go along.
Great. Okay, well, I'll start with the dinner program. As I mentioned, it's been around for the length of our history. It's our flagship program. Currently, we are preparing our meals over on at 311 Temple Street in our kitchen there, although we are about to undertake a major renovation of our building on State Street and build a new commercial kitchen there. So for the coming program year, for the first half of the year, the meals will continue to be prepared and served at 311 Temple Street. And then once the kitchen is complete, we're hoping by the end of the calendar year, we'll be moving back into the State Street building, opening that kitchen and serving there. The program serves about 35,000 meals over the course of each year. So it's a lot of food that goes out. We're open 5 nights a week, and then 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, we provide support for the Yale Community Kitchen program. It's run by Yale students, which operates in the building right next door at 323 Temple Street. The budget for that program is about $250,000. We requested through the CDBG process 63.7, which accounts for 25% of the budget. And the proposed amount came in at 10,000, which is about 4% of the budget. So just keep that in mind. And by the way, that's on par. That 10,000 is on par with what has been included in past CDBG amounts. So for the last 3 years, it has been $10,000 or thereabouts. I think last year it was $9,537. The food pantry program operates out of the building that is owned by the Church of St. Paul St. James at the corner of Olive Street and Chapel. It's actually done as part of a partnership with the Loaves and Fishes program. Loaves and Fishes runs the largest food pantry in town. We're the second largest food pantry in town. That's a site-based program. We're open every Wednesday. People come to us in the afternoon, and they're able to get whole foods in the form of frozen meats, fresh produce, and breads, and canned goods and shelf-stable items as well. The population that we serve is a little bit distinct from our dinner, those who are served at our dinner program and our drop-in center program. It tends to be more people who are housed. Almost by definition, you need to have a kitchen to prepare a lot of the foods that we're distributing at the food pantry program. So that's why that happens. The program serves, has this year, since July 1st of this year, has served 900 unduplicated households. So it's quite a lot of people that it's been served. The budget for the program is $154,000. We requested $26,000, or about 17% of the budget, and the recommended amount is $10,000, or about 6.5% of the total budget for the fiscal year. This is, I think, in the spreadsheet that I got that listed all of this, there was the previous year's funding, and that column was actually left blank for the pantry program. We actually did receive funding last year, so that might have just been an error. So last year we requested, I think actually last year the mayor's proposed amount was $5,000, and then it was approved at $4,765, $68, something like that. So it was about 3.3% of the budget last year that came to support that program. Finally is our newest program, our Drop-In and Resource Center program. This opened in April of 2021. It is more explicitly designed to serve housed individuals. It's a day program that operates from 1:30 to 5:30, 6 days a week. And people come in, people are able to come in and access basic needs, a place to just get it off the street, a place to cool off during the summer and get warm during the winter, but also access food, Wi-Fi, bathrooms, harm reduction products. We do syringe exchange. We provide a range of basic needs items like clothing and food, clothing and toiletries as well. The idea of the program, though, in addition to providing these basic needs and sort of immediate relief, is also to connect people to services. So the program model is to bring people in by having these basic needs and fulfilling that immediate need, and then building rapport, building trust, and through that trust and rapport, we're able to give them outreach services and case management and get them connected to the range of homelessness support services, shelter, housing, various other services as well. That program has served 1,100 unduplicated individuals since the start of the program here on July 1st. In terms of the budget for that, it's a $500,000 program. The ask in the CDBG proposal was $86,000, or 16% of the budget. The recommended amount was $15,000, or 2.8% of the budget. One thing I did want to note on this $15,000 proposed amount is half of what we received for this program this year. So this current fiscal year, the mayor's budget proposed $47,500, or about 9.5% of the budget. But then it was reduced to $30,300, so 6% of the budget when it actually went through. This year, that number has gone down again to about $15,000. So something to please keep in mind and think about as you're deciding on the figures for this year. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from colleagues? Thank you for the testimony. Questions from colleagues? Alderman Gay?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I just have one quick question. So I know you mentioned for the dinner program, you will be at 311 Temple. It's sad to see y'all go from there to stay. Just out of curiosity, just because I think the beauty about Temple was that although it was a very small space, you had institutions, you had the library right there.
Yeah.
Now you're kind of moving, since it's going to be on state. I'm just wondering, I guess maybe logistically how, it might be too early, so feel free to maybe not have a great answer to it, but just want to know how that dinner program will be run out, and make sure to account for, I don't know, bigger cities or other places?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. So when we initially started this program over on State Street, the numbers were considerably lower in terms of the number of people, or at least the figures we were working off of were considerably lower. So we have seen an increase in unhoused individuals in New Haven over the last 5 years, 3 years. So that's certainly affecting our capacity. So we will have to deal over the next couple of years with the question of do we continue to serve our sort of larger space and sort of community meals style, or which we have been doing on Temple Street for many years, or do we try to keep it more focused on unhoused individuals? Do we continue to do more grab and go? So we're working with the Yale School of Public Health to conduct a series of focus groups this summer to really try to dig into that question and answer it. It'll be a strategic decision by the board as to what they want to do. Either way, we keep serving dinner. Question will really be, is it going to continue to be this grab and go style, which has been working for some people, especially for those who we consider the Alice population. They're asset limited, income constrained, unemployed. In the 90s, we used to say the working poor. For people who are just trying to make ends meet and just grabbing a meal and going, the grab and go program actually works quite well. But for those who are looking for more of a community experience where they get to sit down, that has been lacking, I think, since the pandemic started, and we're eager to get back to that. We've been able to do it for the unhoused folks at the State Street program, like Job Center, and it's been working out really nicely. But there are too many people for that to work on State Street. So we're exploring options of finding another location that might be big enough to accommodate that sort of thing, or possibly keeping the grabbing going.
Okay, I really appreciate the answer. Do any colleagues have any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Edgewood PTA Child Care Program, Inc.
They submitted written testimony.
Yeah. The email should be forwarded to y'all already. Received, okay.
And I think Ms. Bonita Groves as well.
Yeah. No, I don't know if she did. Did she submit written testimony?
Our next presenters is Power in a Shower, Walter Harris.
Page 88, page 94.
Page 88 and 94, colleagues. All right, name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. Walter Harris. Our address is 3308 Edson Avenue, our headquarters in the Bronx, New York.
You may proceed.
Okay, our organization provides hygiene care for the homeless and unhoused population. We have done it last year. We're in our second year of this program. We rolled out for this year, and already we're seeing a high demand. And our second week, I think we had like about 35 people who were on the green for showers. And so we see the demand is growing, and we see what have happened over the years, over the last couple of months of providing this service. There are several individuals who have transitioned from homelessness back into society. One of the things that we realize, even as we interview and talk with these individuals, is once they're clean, they're open for conversation. And then we are able now to refer them to the care providers, who eventually provide them with information to get housing. Our partnership with the City of New Haven and Cornell Scott Institution and Yale, along with all of the social workers brings a holistic program. And as the group before spoke about those who are released from incarceration, one of the things that I have seen is the first stop for a lot of these is right to us, with no clothes, anything on. And so for everybody that comes to our organization, we provide full, clean underclothes. Everything that touches your body is brand new. And then we provide outer clothes for those that we have as needed, which we're finding that quite a few people are in need of outer clothing. We're also seeing where a lot of folks are still coming back with the same clothes that we gave them last week. And they're coming back this week for a shower with the same clothes, we're kind of referring them to other locations that we have so that they can change, because a change of clothes open opportunities for these individuals to communicate and to eventually build trust back into society and to able to emerge back into citizens, which is part of the holistic program of what we do. Our showers are clean after every shower. So after everybody who takes a shower, we go in with the sanitize to make sure, again, one of the things that I have found working there is the trauma of unclean showers. Most of these people were incarcerated, and I've talked about going into a shower and come back out with foot disease and other things that mentally I see that affect them. And talking, eventually they share their stories, and I assure them that I go in, I have no problem taking a shower, and if I could take one, and we have had no problem with everybody who comes, no longer ever even ask for slippers. They just go right in, and the conversation starts as soon as they come out. And so we are seeing that the need and the uptick of those who have transitioned on and those who have moved into permanent housing. But we've seen an uptick of new ones who are coming over the winter season as we move in. So our funding is asking that we can keep this program going, because it's a vital necessity to the community. There are three things that as human beings that makes us comfortable, and as babies, it's part of what we do. When we cry, they always check to see if we're hungry. If you're hungry, you get food. Or if you're sleepy, they'll try to put you to sleep. And the next thing is, then if you're not hungry, if you're not sleepy, then you need a shower. And so once you get a shower, it just changes the way we think, the way we operate, and the way we function. We have also seen an uptick in the ladies who are now coming for showers. Our first 6 recipients on Tuesday were female. And we're able to help these females again to be clean. One lady is looking for a job, and so we try to make sure that she gets clean clothes all the time so she can go on job interviews. And so we see a vital need in getting funding to keep this program going in
Thank you for your testimony. Do any of my colleagues have questions? Alderman Miller?
Thank you for what you do. I've seen you guys in action in my neighborhood and how much people really appreciate it. So thank you very much for what you do. So I noticed you don't have any other funding noted. I wonder if you could talk about what your plan is if we were to allocate the 10,000 that the mayor's recommended.
We do, well, it might not be mentioned here, but even before we came here, we do have other avenues that we do get support from. And so a lot of the outer clothing that we provide, all of the outer clothing that we provide are donated and funded by other sources that we do get. And so, a good percentage of that, 40% or more, of that funding comes from outside to keep that going.
Just one quick call. So you anticipate that you would be able to raise the dollars to continue to operate with this allocation?
Yes, we would work within that, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from colleagues? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Prosperity House.
89.
Really good to pass the 7. Yeah, I don't want to.
If we can get names and addresses for the record, please.
Pastor Lewis, 1532 Allegretti Boulevard.
Karen Tyson, 190 Winthrop Avenue.
And Willie Hayes, 190 Winthrop Avenue.
You may proceed.
Hi, my name is Karen Tyson, and I am the founder of Prosperity House. Prosperity House was founded in 2014. We are a recovery housing. We have housed more than 950 men that were transitioning from incarceration, substance abuse treatment program, and shelters. Without our services, many of our residents would have been homeless, incarcerated, or relapsed, and possibly even overdosed. At Prosperity House, we provide clinical and case management services with wraparound community support. We currently have been able to serve the City of New Haven residents with high quality, high impact recovery housing without any financial assistance from the City of New Haven since 2014. We are contracted with Demas and pays up to 3 months of housing for 13 residents. We also have resources with the continuing of care, their homeless prevention funding that pays for housing fees. We, thus far, with limited funding and the greater needs to assist the City of New Haven housing issues, we have the need to expand. Our grants was denied due to lack of leverage funding. Although we have never received state, city, or federal funding, we do have some current pending grants with Community Foundation for $50,000, and then a small another Community Foundation grant for $15,000. We have been able to sustain all operational expenses as well as expand with the fees paid for the housing through Demas, continuous care, and self-paid clients. Currently, we need to expand because of the issue of how. Am I talking to you?
You're all good, don't worry.
Okay. But currently, we need to expand due to the housing issues in New Haven. People coming home from the prison, released from treatment facilities, and even the homeless population. We are full capacity at 52 beds. We need to expand our services, staffing, to provide more case management. We are partnered with Prosperity Counseling, where they provide clinical services and also case management. We've never applied for any grants or got any funding from anywhere before. It's been self-sustainable with the fees paid by for residential fees.
And let me just say, she kind of being a little modest, but she also is a returning citizen.
I am a returning
Okay,
citizen.
I'm on the board, and what Karen has done is amazing. I'm a long life resident here, maybe some of y'all might know me. I've been involved with a lot of things, I'm still involved with a lot of things, and as even Jackie stated up here, the need is growing as far as people coming out of incarceration, and also the substance abuse use is going up even more, and the collaborative effort is needed. So this is why, again, with Karen doing an amazing job with what she has been able to do without any assistance, to be able to grow the organization to where it is, and now being able to get it to where it's now starting to expand. This is why she's here seeking some assistance, because again, as we know in New Haven, the need is growing even more. It's not, we can't solve the problem in New Haven just by funding one avenue or one organization. We got to build that network. And we want to be, and we are a part of that network with what we've been doing, but being able to get some assistance, that would definitely help.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Do you have any colleagues, questions? Alderman Gay.
How you doing, Pastor?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for what you've been doing. Thank you for your sustainability without help. And just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much, and thank you for that MLK training that you're doing out there. Thank you.
That's it.
Alder Streeter.
Thank you, Master Chair. I just want to piggyback what he said. I think you're doing a great job in the community. Continue. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions from colleagues?
Yeah, my question is, we've never applied for any funding, and I've been talking back and forth with Ronzi, and oh, that's Mr. King. and he said the reason why, he said, although that, the need for what we have is needed, but we were denied because we didn't have leverage funding. Now, it might have been an oversight to put that we are that pending grants with the Community Foundation, and also we're participating in the Great Gift. I'm just really want to know, where can we get funding to expand these services, to add more staffing, and to add more beds?
That's a good question. I will say, however, that there are organizations that have been funded in the past that in their applications haven't provided any leverage funding. So I think, I don't want to speak for Mr. Gizzi, but I think the goal is to hopefully have organizations and projects leverage as much funding, or at least indicate what funding sources that they might apply to or have already applied to. Now, maybe defer to any colleagues or any recommendations. I mean, you spoke about the Community Foundation and a few other places. I think those are great places to start. But also defer to any colleagues if they have any ideas or any potential. And if not, we could maybe be in contact afterwards if any folks come.
I think, Mr. Chair, I think definitely starting with the Community Foundation, because they have a broad spectrum of individuals that they deal with, and you've started with them, just asking to see how many other avenues there may be out there available for you as you continue to grow your program. And like it was stated, it's networking. So absolutely reaching out to them and saying, who else can we contact, embrace with them, and try to grow and continue the program. And thank you for your service and what you're doing.
Meanwhile, we hope we can get you all the support. All right.
How will we know if you're going to support this?
So the board will first finish wrapping up hearing from all the proposals, go over deliberations and see if there's any amendments any colleagues want to make, either taking away money or either giving, swapping money. And we'll have our deliberations, I think, in about a month or so in May. So after those deliberations, we'll vote on it, and all the organizations will know how much they're funding. But thank you for the questions.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Y'all keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Our next presenters are New Haven Youth Soccer.
87.
Name and address for the record?
Sure.
Thank you.
Michael Galvesek, and it's 300 George Street, New Haven. Our PO box for the soccer league is 9293 in New Haven as well. Thanks for letting me come out here and explain the need for the youth and what we're doing to at least help do our part to help others. New Haven Soccer was founded 40 years ago, and it's been involved in growing the dependency on others and forming a community ever since. Personally, I grew up in West Haven, and having involved as a player or a coach or a volunteer board member at the state, local, and district levels for over 20 years. And I ended up volunteering at New Haven. I have a partnership because I work at Yale and I went to Southern. And I started seeing the diverse atmosphere that we have here, and I loved it. So I started off as referee signer and then took on more responsibilities within the program. And I've been able to see so many possible ways for the kids to get together and really open up. Now I have notes here, but I'm thinking about, my God, that sounded great. Is that me? Oh, it's this one, okay. Can I shut this one off? Oh, well, I tried. I know you guys have my notes on the application, so I won't really get into that. What I want to explain is, I think that everything that everyone brought up here was amazing. And one of the things that I think youth sports and youth engagement does, and I can advocate for this, is it allows kids from all different backgrounds to come together as one. And it allows kids from maybe a more privileged environment to partner with a kid that really struggles for dinner and look the same, have the same uniforms, have the same environment, practice the same way, have a coach and or mentor that's with them that looks like them, which is key, and gets out there and celebrates as one New Haven. And that's one of the things that we've really been working on the past 5 years. It does cost money to run any kind of nonprofit, obviously. And what we've been able to do is run a very, very lean budget. Monies in come from donations from the community, Great Give. Yale gives us $1,000. Yard gives us $5,000. We're looking for help with CDBG. Community support, around $2,000 with donations, and the rest come from really registration. We haven't had many business sponsors, honestly, ever since COVID. It's been really rough, and we've been trying, every way we could, even if it's like a swap kind of thing, put your name on our shirt, all that kind of good stuff. Breaking down the numbers, we had over 120 kids last year ask for some sort of financial assistance, families, I should say. And we broke it down by demographics, income, and what, the real need. And it's tough to maintain where we are with what we're charging the other families. Say it's $400 for the fall and the spring, cumulative programming, and we allow kids that can't afford it an opportunity to play for free or at a substantial discount. Now we offer that by telling the parents what can you afford to pay, and we ask what kind of income they have. Most of them that ask for financial assistance are under $35,000 for a family. So it really does supplement the kids. And I guess what I want to get out, we all know what sports are, we all know what soccer is, but this will allow, hopefully, the kids an opportunity, instead of being at home playing video games, or maybe not even watch, being able to communicate, get out there and exercise multiple times a week. with a background check, which we all have to be, safety molestation checks, advocate from their youth. And now all of our coaches, they're only paid $1,000. And it's, for the amount of hours, it's less than minimum wage. It's tight. They're all New Haven based. They're all members of our community, and it's pretty cool. They're nice people. The kids that we have as assistants are high school students. So they're all, again, New Haven based. There's no one really coming from the outside that's willing to jump in here. It's you gotta love it. And we want the kids to be able to have an alternative to doing nothing outside. And we want to have them feeling warm and safe, and this does allow it to happen. I have grown the program, or we have grown the program from fall and spring seasons. Thank you to some of the schools, they allowed us to go indoors in the summer, in the winter, and allowing usage of fields in the summer. So now we are a 4-season program for the city, and I think right now we're one of the only programs that allows that, which is pretty nice. Really, what I want to explain is we are asking for $25,000. That would allow 60 kids an opportunity to play for free. If people could only afford a certain amount, we would take that into consideration, and everything is measured by neighborhood demographics, number of parents in the household, and working environments. All those kind of things are all measured, and we can report on it. When it comes down to it, we have a group of people, small group of people, that are willing to put the work and the effort in to help the community. That really, we don't get anything. I mean, I don't have kids in this league. My kids don't really want to play soccer, which is fun for a guy that runs a soccer program. But no, but what I'm trying to say is we have a small group of volunteers that believe in the kids and are willing to devote the time. And for every dollar you give or allocate to us, we will directly give the monies to the families that can't afford it. It's not going to go to stipends for coaches. It's not even going to referees. It's all going to the kids directly. And those monies for the kids go to insurance, which could be the only insurance the kids have, because every player has to be insured and registered. Uniform, and again, the uniforms, we've worked so hard to find the right uniforms, where now the kids pick their numbers and they get the last names on the shirt, and it's the same price as it would just by looking and really hustling to find this kind of stuff. Supplies, no one's gonna have balls, all those things that the kids need, but now everybody comes together the same. And if we're going to another town, it's nice when every kid has the bag and every kid has their stuff all presented well, and we're not joked at. And that does happen, and that's going to help us. We are right now down $17,000 due to my plan of, again, $400 is a lot, but again, it's all year. And that's one of our programs. That's the more popular travel program. But what I'm trying to say is, if we don't, I had a thought, but basically it comes down to, oh yeah, I made a payment plan system thinking that would help people by charging monthly, and unfortunately it was an effort to try to supplement where we couldn't receive funding. That didn't really work, because right now I'm down $17,000 due to it, and it's really, and the only thing is the parents, they have to change their credit cards, and so we're trying to figure it out. And I think you might have a question.
I do. Thank you so much for that presentation. Mr. Chair?
No, go ahead.
Thank you. You are servicing how many children?
400.
400. And it sounds like it's a program that is well received, and you take the children not just playing in the New Haven area, but also for them to get the exposure to go into other areas. So I thank you for that. And the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing for the New Haven children and the energy.
Oh, thanks. Speaking, yeah.
I was just going to ask if any other colleagues had any questions. Go
More of a question. Thank you. Both my kids have done New Haven Youth Soccer, so I really appreciate what you do. Also, we were able to get a lot of Fairhaven kids into the program when it was free.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
With expansion grant.
Yeah. So I really appreciate that. And I just want to make sure people know that when we went from middle school, elementary school to K-8 schools, it became one of the operational challenges is providing after-school sports in schools.
Yeah.
It's just much more complicated because there's fewer middle school kids. So we just appreciate you helping to fill that gap. I think it's something I hope we can expand over time because it makes a big difference when kids can just stay in their own school.
And that's,
do
yeah, and
sports
that's
at
kind of what we
school.
did, thank you, and that's what we did with Common Ground and a couple other schools that are allowing us to use the facilities, and which is the good part about it is their partnership with us was they're not charging us for the services, and we work it around so kids can stay in and do it. And again, and I do see that all these things are great programs that you guys have to deal with and you know, think about. And I want my kids to have an opportunity to make the right choices so we won't have to fund other programming that's a necessity right now. I want us to think systematically and invest in kids now. And to close, because I'll obviously answer any other questions. I do want to bridge the gap between the people that need the most funding and the kids that don't, that may be in the same school as them. I want them to be together. We are willing to do the process. We are willing to volunteer our time, but we do need some help. With the 25,000, I said 60 kids, that's 15%, but we use the rest of it. Registration covers everything else, in addition to the other funding. So I'm able to make it work. It was just unexpected things like the 17,000 with the payment plans that I thought would work, it did. If we get the 10,000 that it looks like the mayor was looking for, it's about 6% or 25 kids. Now, if we have 25 kids in if there's 25 different, signs for different people, that's just one per area representation. So what I'm trying to say is I will give the kids, as a volunteer registrar, as much as I can, but the more you give us, the more we can give them, and it goes right back to you. And that's my little spiel.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Alder DeCola, question?
That's not a question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thank you. My daughter was in your league.
Hey.
So I never knew you, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alder DeCola. Alder Saber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I played New Haven youth soccer from when I was like 4 and when I graduated from high school. When we played, we did not have names on the back of our jerseys. We went
Look
out
at our website, you see them.
We went out to the suburbs and we were a ragtag bunch, but
Yeah.
we won anyways. But I just want to say thank you for what you do. It's definitely a great program, and appreciate all the work and making sure
That's really nice to hear.
Our youth have
And we're willing to do it. All you guys gotta do is give us a little bit.
Alder Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say I commend you on what you're doing, and I like what you're doing. You say you get the kids while they're young and try to keep them in the right direction, then they won't fall off the wayside.
Exactly.
That's what I got your message and I understood what you're saying.
That's exactly it.
It's a great need for that, and keep it up. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. That's exactly, I know I kind of ramble off, but that's exactly what I was trying to say from the beginning. We got this. And I'm out there cleaning the goals in the fields myself with my friends, and we're doing it. We'll do it with whatever we can, but the more, like I said, the more support we have, it's going to go right back out, and I'll be able to show that it's growing. The way we'll be able to measure this is by the increasing amount of kids. And I'll tell you right now, in 2001, we had 200 kids. We went to 300. We had a little bit less during COVID. We grew it back so fast in the past year and a half. There were 400 New Haven residents, 35 kids from like East Haven and Brantford that joined that didn't have a program. They're coming to us now. And those aren't, obviously, they're not part of our funding, but I want to understand that people are wanting to come to New Haven now. And I think it's great. And I just, I want to continue helping.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. The next presenter is Agency on Aging.
76.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
My name is Christopher Clark, 10 North Sheffield Street in Connecticut.
You can move if you like. A little closer to you, no problem.
Is that better?
You can take your mask off.
Yes, sir. All right. So I work with the Agency on Aging, and we have a grocery bag program. The grocery bag program is designed to Okay. So the program is designed to assist seniors, seniors who are homebound, who have no way to get to their grocery store appointments. Or the design of the program is where one of the programs where we work with the food pantries. We work with the community. We go into the community. We go to churches. We go to where the people that need help is where they are. So at the churches, we connect with their pastor, ask them about the residents that are needed food and groceries, and we go and deliver the groceries to those members. If they have a pantry, we connect with them at that pantry, and we provide a driver, and we provide drivers to assist with the groceries, and we pick up the food from pantries. Was gonna say something? And that's one of the programs where we go and connect with the food pantries. We have drivers, and they go pick up the food from the pantries and drop it off to all the seniors that need the assistance. That's one of the programs. The next programs we have is called the gift card, where we give out a $100 gift card to seniors that are homebound who have no way to get to their appointment or don't have the funds. We ask them what they need as far as the groceries, and they give us a list of what they need, and we go out and get the groceries for them. And when you assisted us a couple of years back, or last year, it was so helpful. So many people called, so many people needed the assistance. People are struggling right now. Seniors are struggling with the supports, food right now. We get so many calls on a regular basis of seniors that don't have food to snack. And now food is getting higher, going higher. So we know it's a problem. And so these two avenues, one basically for food pantry where we deliver, and we try to hire or find volunteers to support us to deliver these groceries and connect them with the community, with the food pantries. And the other part is the gift cards, where we're hitting like 500 people to give out those gift cards to seniors who are going through emergencies and just need a provision.
All right, thank you so much for your testimony. Any questions or colleagues? Alderman Gay.
Thank you for your testimony. Your mama raised you right. So, is it just New Haven residents, or is this in general?
Well, most of our individuals call from New Haven. A lot of people are struggling in the New Haven County. And so we do have different programs like SNAP programs, but the basis is we need funding for food. People are struggling. And it's also nutritious food. You know, all this food that they're giving out is not always nutritious. It's always things that, you know, come in different ways. So we want to provide those rich foods, those nutritional food that people are needing on a daily basis. So whether it's through the food pantry or whether we're asking them what they need, we come back and say, okay. And that's the basis.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
New Haven Ecology Project, Common Ground.
84.
My name is Rebecca Holcomb. My address is 231 Ansonia Road in Woodbridge.
You may proceed.
I'm here to talk about our application for our Kids Unplugged after-school program. I really enjoyed hearing what our friends at New Haven Youth Soccer had to say. It's really humbling to sit here and listen to all of the really big, difficult issues in our city that need support for adults. And I get to come to you, and New Haven Youth Soccer gets to come to you and talk about bringing joy to city kids. When I left work today, there were about 40 kids coming back from a hike, helping to do end-of-the-day farm chores, and finishing watering the spring garden. Left work around 5, and they were still actively engaged in their after-school program. So that's what our Kids Unplugged after-school program does. It gets about 40 city kids from New Haven and surrounding towns out into nature every day after school. Our application supports the participation of New Haven kids from low-income families who can't afford the cost of tuition.
All right, any questions from colleagues? Alder Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my question is an easy one. Approximately how many students from New Haven do you actually get in this program?
We have 92 this school year out of 160 program spaces. That exceeds our this fiscal year CDBG application, which I was excited about. And so our application for next fiscal year is similar, to have at least 50% of the kids come from New Haven. We typically start seeing New Haven enrollments first before surrounding towns. So we're always happy to go beyond 50% if we have the interest in the funding to support it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions from colleagues? Alder Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to give a quick comment. I spent a lot of time at Common Ground. My kids are big fans of the program, many different programs. And I think it's a place that is often not accessible to people who don't have the ability to pay fees. And so I think it's really, really important that through this and other programs, we try to make that possible, because it's a very unique program and a citywide asset that we need to be making available to more people.
Yeah, thank you. We do a lot of our own fundraising as well. Certainly this is not all of the financial aid that we offer, but it's a big part of it, and it is really important to our budget. We know that absolutely not all families are going to be able to afford the tuition, so the CDBG money towards financial aid makes a big difference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Casa Otoñal.
I just wanted to quickly say thanks to everyone for stuck through it over the past few hours. We're getting to you, hopefully soon.
77.
Good evening, name and address for the record, please.
Elmer Rivera Bell, 148 7th Avenue. So good evening, co-chairs, Alder Gusnai and Alder Rodriguez, and fellow committee members. As director of Casa Otoñal, I am very excited to have this opportunity to present Casa Otoñal's programming to your committee. Since 1976, Casa Otoñal has been providing community services to New Haven that include affordable housing, social services, senior and youth programming, as well as workforce development with a targeted focus on the Latino community. Casa, as many have come to know our organization, has submitted 2 CDBG applications. First, for its senior nutrition program, and secondly, for its job training services program. I will start with the nutrition program. Since inception, Casa has been providing free lunches to seniors throughout New Haven. Over the years, Casa has become one of 17 senior community cafes in the South Central Connecticut region, and has expanded its menu to include freshly prepared Latino-inspired meals. This lone feature has been quite popular by its participants, and in 2022, according to the Agency on Aging of South Central Connecticut, Casa served 10,297 meals to seniors and disabled individuals in New Haven, ranking number one in the South Central Connecticut region out of 17 organizations. While some may view this program as being solely about serving nutritious meals, for us, it's much more. It is our view that in the process of carrying out this service, it affords us the opportunity to engage participants in reducing isolation, as well as identifying and addressing potential mental and/or emotional health needs. With the requested funds, Casa aims to expand this service by providing transportation to and from our community cafe located at 135 Sylvan Avenue in the Hill neighborhood, and potentially double its participation rate. In this effort, Casa has secured funding to acquire a passenger bus, and the CDBG funds requested would more directly help in covering overhead expenses related to the increased output and create job opportunities in New Haven with the hiring of a certified driver for the shuttle bus and a prep cook in the kitchen. Our second application is related to the job training program. Casa, since the late 90s, has been providing job training services in Spanish so that students could obtain the Child Development Associate Credential, or CDA as it's known in the early child care industry. The CDA credential is a national credentialing program that focuses on the skills of early care and education professionals. It is performance-based assessment of the child care staff, home visitor, and family child care providers. Over the years, CASA has trained hundreds of students that have gone on to become either business owners or employees of child care facilities, paraprofessionals in school systems, and much more. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows Hispanic employees will account for more than 15% of the entire American workforce by 2050. And the Wall Street Journal reports that the US Hispanic population will make up 40% of employment growth. Studies and learning theories show comprehension and retention of training materials are most effective in an employee's native language. And a large reason for this is because employees can give their full attention to content rather than trying to mentally focus on translating materials. We aim to reduce barriers to self-sufficiency that are defined as economic strain, employment challenges, educational challenges, lack of access to services that hinder a person's ability to become self-supporting due to their limited English proficiency. It is for that reason that CASA aims to expand its Spanish job training program to include trainings in certified nurses aid, CNA, and certified phlebotomy technicians. With the requested CDBG funds, CASA aims to provide these trainings at no cost to approximately 30 to 35 New Haven residents. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. Any questions from colleagues? Alder Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for presenting. I did just have one question about your job training program. I had a question about funding and funding mechanisms and how it was previously funded, because I don't see any leverage funding here. So I was just wondering about that piece of it.
So for a long time, we've been passing on the cost in the form of tuition to students for the CDA program. What we offer them is just a very convenient, easy pay plan so that it's more convenient for them. Our goal here is to provide this at no cost. So that's why we don't have, at the moment, we don't have any leverage funding or haven't identified any other sources of funding.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? I do have a follow-up. How much is tuition right now, if you don't mind me asking? Just so I get an idea of how, if the funds were to be granted, how many, people would be able to reach?
So I can only speak to what we currently have, we're doing.
Yeah.
So with, having to pay instructors and books and all that, it's on average around $1,300 for the CDA program. So our goal again is to provide it at no cost.
I appreciate that, and I'll take the time just quickly to make a comment. I love that you talked about child development associate credentials. Childcare, especially after the pandemic, is such a dire necessity across communities, and the industry is actually served a lot by Black and Latino individuals, and so I just wanted to make that comment. I think, we'll take that into consideration as other things as well. Any other questions or comments, my colleagues?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Your senior lunch program, it's servicing 95 residents or more than that at your?
So on average, we serve around 45 meals per day to different individuals. I believe the last time we checked on our roster, we had around 115 residents that participate on any given day. A total of about 115 different individuals. And so for us, it's mainly, so because we have the housing facility, it's mainly from the housing facility. Since we're going to be obtaining a shuttle bus, our goal is to transport seniors to and from to our facility so they can participate not only in the lunch but also socialize with other seniors as well, and as well as with the activities that we also provide on site.
Any other questions, Alder Rodriguez?
So, and when you're serving the meals, are you using your like dining halls so that the seniors can engage with one another? Because with the seclusion that we had with COVID, are we trying to re-engage?
So yes, that's what we encourage. During the pandemic, we started delivering meals to our residents. But now we're pushing away from that because part of our goal is to have them engage and socialize and reduce isolation. So yes, we use our dining hall. We have a community room and our dining hall, which has plenty of capacity for an increased participation rate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from colleagues? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is New Reach.
87.
87?
87.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Ann Day. I'm the CEO of New Reach, and I live at 1050 State Street in New Haven.
Good evening. My name is Meredith Danbois. I'm the Chief Quality and Compliance Officer at New Reach. Address is 140 Robbins Road in Berlin.
We're here tonight. We have 3 applications in front of you. We have a summary of it if you're interested.
We are.
Okay, I'm going to talk. I know, thank you. We appreciate it. I know you are. I'm going to just quickly give a brief overview of New Reach for any of the aldermen who are not familiar with the breadth of services that we provide.
The other 2 are on page 94 and 95.
You want to just follow?
Sure. I'll give you a cheat sheet here. Help us and help you. Thank you. So I'm just going to quickly give an overview of the breadth of our services, and then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Meredith to walk you through each of the applications that we have in front of you. So for those of you who are not aware, New Reach is an organization that's working to end homelessness by using 3 different interventions: homeless prevention, and diversion. So we work with families who are at risk of eviction or who are at the front door of the shelter, and we work to help them resolve any of the issues that may be contributing to those factors and keep them out of shelter. We also operate emergency crisis services in the city, so we operate the Life Haven and the Martha's Place shelters. So we're serving close to 45 women and children tonight in Martha's Place, and 17 women in Life Haven, and 17 women in Martha's Place tonight. We also provide supportive housing, so that's kind of our 3rd intervention. We want to make homelessness rare. If folks fall into homelessness, we want to make it brief and safe and respectful. And the 3rd is housing. So we do own and operate housing throughout the city of New Haven, and we partner with landlords and the Housing Authority to operate over 100 units of supportive and affordable housing for formerly homeless families, individuals, and youth. Most recently, in January, we merged with the organization that was known as FISH, Food and Service to the Homebound. They had began to rent some space at our location on Peck Street during the pandemic when they were called upon to, by pantry to pantry, to serve all of the homebound meals when the pantries closed. And so after the pantries reopened and their census went down a little bit, they asked us if we would take that program on. Their executive director was retiring. So they came under our umbrella in January. So the 3rd application that we're asking for under the software is for services for the FISH program. So Meredith's going to talk about our rapid rehousing and our aid supportive housing in our FISH applications.
So I'll start with the FISH application. So,
Move that one a little bit over.
Okay, so our CDBG application for FISH, as Kellyanne mentioned, the request was for staffing dollars and for food. So during the pandemic, there was kind of a one-time set aside money. Food Share was able to provide food for us for no cost, and that's going to be ending in the next couple months. So as we work to stabilize the program under New Reach, we really need to stabilize the food delivery. So we will be getting food from Food Share, but it will be purchased. We are also requested part of a staff to operate the program. We have 3 staff and really dedicated volunteers who are making this work. While we do have leveraged funding, it's not enough to operate. The program, historically has operated through the goodwill of a lot of donors and volunteers. And, as it comes under New Reach's infrastructure, we're really working to stabilize that and get consistent funding. The program serves about 750 households currently every month. And it's all delivery based, so it's all for folks who are homebound for a variety of different reasons. So they could be elderly, they could be coming out of surgery, have major chronic illness. So we have the delivery that falls under here. So great, a network of volunteers who makes that happen. So that was our request. Fish did receive $16,000 for this current fiscal year we're in. In the proposed budget, it's $12,000, so that does represent a 25% cut. Just wanting to also note that the rate of food insecurity in the past year has almost doubled. 17% of adults in Connecticut have noted in the past year being struggling to get food. So 17 as compared to 10% the year before. Our other two applications we have for ESG funds for rapid rehousing. We have a pretty robust rapid rehousing program for families with children in the city of New Haven. So we have requested some money for staffing. We do leverage other sources, state and federal, for the rental assistance piece. So the services really are for the staff to make sure that they can work with the clients to administer the rental assistance and stabilize the household. So that request was about $90,000, and the proposed looks like it's about $45,000, which is about a $5,000 cut since for this year's about 10% cut. Our third application is under HHS, and that's for our 8 supportive housing program. We receive TVRA rental assistance for about 30 households affected by HIV and AIDS throughout the community. The funding level is about the same for this year, so we certainly thank you for that. That is, you know, I think the challenge we've seen in the past couple of years, especially with the HHS funding, because it is used for rental assistance, is that the housing costs have gone up significantly. So as the clients are paying more, we're using more of these funds. So while the funding has remained fairly even throughout the last several years, it's going a lot less far. So, you know, we would be at danger. I think each year we're in danger of cutting, having to cut families from this project. So those are our three. I don't know if you wanted to.
I just wanted to add one thing. When Mary was talking about the 30 families for HHS, I remember when the city of New Haven received the HHS funding. I think it was in '97, perhaps, when the first distribution started to come through. At that point, we were serving about 42 families with this funding, and with the increase in rents, we actually serve, now we're down to 30 families that we're serving. So just wanted to kind of give you that impact of what the market's having on the folks that we are able to even help. So thank you.
The 30 would have been if we were fully funded at the full request. So we're right at about, I think, 26 now.
26.
So significant increase the past 2 years, significant.
Thank you for your testimony. Do any colleagues have any questions? Alder Wingate.
Just a comment. Thank you for doing all that you've been doing. You know, the challenge is things went up when we got less money. You know, a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago, I remember, I would call them the good years. Before COVID, I was the chair, we had more, right? So thank you for all that you've been doing, and hopefully we can figure some stuff out when we can. You know, just know the intention is for y'all to just keep blessing them.
We know, and we appreciate it, and we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, thank you so much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Children in placement?
77.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Janet Klein, Executive Director of Children in Placement at 155 East Street in New Haven. Our administrative office is right here in New Haven. You may not have heard of us, but children of New Haven have been abused and neglected, and their families do. We want to thank you for your support. With a new board and a new vision, we are looking to serve even more children and families through our community outreach. For 44 years, Children on Placement has recruited, trained, and managed volunteers to serve as guardians ad litem in court to support hundreds of abused and neglected children statewide each year. We are the only agency to do this, and we are not widely known because of our work with the court and Department of Children and Families. While DCF workers have upwards of 30 cases to manage and attorneys have many more, our volunteers take on 1 or 2 cases at a time. In 2022, there were 1,800 cases of abuse reported and accepted in New Haven. We are requesting funding to support our efforts to recruit additional guardians ad litem and provide staff support to manage these cases. Studies have showed that when a GAL volunteer is involved in a child protection case, the child and their family receive more court-ordered services, the child's case is more likely to be permanently closed, and the child is on the road to permanency in a shorter period of time, as compared to children in child protection cases without a GAL to represent their best interests. CIP receives less than half of its budget from state funding, and we rely heavily on funding from the cities and other funders so that we can continue to provide this much-needed service to the many children we serve each year. If you remember nothing else, please know that the volunteer is the one voice whose sole agency is to speak up for the child's best interest while simultaneously monitoring the child's ongoing safety and standing by the child as they endure court trials, motions, and hearings. Our volunteers ensure that potential barriers that could otherwise impede the child's path to a safe permanent home are removed as quickly as possible. Thank you for support and learning more about our organization. I do have collateral that I tried to bring up, but I can give it to you, Jim.
Yeah, and we can provide it to staff
Great.
to make copies. That'd be great. Any questions from the colleagues?
Thank
you so much.
Thank you for presenting.
All right, do we have anyone from the public wishing to testify at this moment? For a second time, do we have anyone from the public wishing? Oh.
It's not that I would check it up. Well, I'm from the public, I'm from the community. I'm here because.
Name and address for the
yeah.
record. Sorry.
James Walker, Believe in Me Empowerment Corporation, 423 Dixwell Avenue, New Haven. I'm here because I see the list with our name on it concerning, we submitted an application for CDBG for new construction, but I don't think it went forward, but I got a denial kind of because I didn't turn in the COVD application. So I submitted it after, so I seen our name listed, I just came down here just in case. For property 53 Shelton Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut, for new development.
We could have staff, I believe Mr. Goody touched upon this at our previous meeting. I don't know if you could kind of come up and just say your name and address for the record. Sorry about it.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, everyone. Ron Gizzi, 219 Raymond Terrace, Hamden. So there was an issue with the hardware application. New construction is allowed under CDBG, but you have to be a community-based development organization, and that needs to be approved by the city. So in the new construction application, it does state that they must be an approved CBDO before they submit the application. So I think Mr. Walker submitted the application just recently, maybe 2 weeks ago or so.
Yes, basically, I had a meeting at the mayor's office with his assistant and Mike Piscatelli, I believe. And I was trying to get funding back then, but it wasn't from, I think it was from the ARPRA funding, where they're using the East Haven, they're building a gymnasium. But they said they didn't want to use the money for me, basically, because I'm a nonprofit and they don't want to start that president giving nonprofits that. So please apply for the CDBG at LCI when the CDBG comes out, and that's what I did. After they said that on the application, I didn't realize that, and I submitted that application prior to submitting in other forums. Since he told me that, I submitted the application, so it's in LCI's office now. It's not that it's approved right now, but my name was on the paper, so I just decided to come down. So,
I don't know what the status is with the LCI application. I think
Kathy
someone
told
did, I think
her,
she did respond to you
yeah,
with
she
some
did.
additional questions, so it hasn't been approved.
I just had her response, she didn't know what the application basically was for. I told her I already applied it in the CDBG for new development for 53 Shelton Avenue. So I emailed her today, now she's aware of it, so I don't know where we're gonna go from that. That's all. All right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
They do have a public service application in though as well. That's on page 76. You could, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to speak on, you have submitted another, application for basic needs, enhancement program. If you want, you can speak about it.
All right, basically a transitional housing program, which is located on 423 Dixon Avenue. We've been working with the reentry population for probably 16 years. We also do a community food bank. We have counseling on site, individual therapy on site. We can house up to 34 residents. On the basic needs applications for supplies, cleaning supplies, blankets, bus passes, gift cards. And we also do community service in our program. That's what it was for, the basic needs application.
Thank you so much. Any questions, comments from colleagues? Alder Streeter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a comment. I'm quite aware of Believe in Me is in my ward. I'm aware of the work that Mr. Walker does in the community and services that he provides to the community. And I just want to say, he has a food pantry, he gives out food, clothing, has computers that people have access to. And I just want to say, I thank you for what you're doing in the community and keep it up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Alder Wingate?
Yeah, I echo what the alder says in his order. And just keep doing what you're doing. That's why I want you to come up and say something in reference to, what you've been doing for the last couple of years, last 20 years, I should say, in New Haven. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you for hearing me. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you very
Excuse
much.
my
Thank you.
appearance, but I don't.
No, thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
You have one more?
So, let's see. All right. Now, does anyone from the public wish to testify at this moment? Going twice. Is there anyone from the public wishing to testify at this moment? 3 times. Is there anyone from the public wishing to testify at this moment?
I make a motion, we close the public portion.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to close the public portion, passed. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Just the only thing we need to figure out is what's the deadline for your amendments?
I believe all the Douglas and co-chairs, Rodriguez, as well, we'll try to come up with a deadline, hopefully by the end of the week if possible. Alder Wingate?
Yeah, if I may, just keep in mind, if I can go through the chair with this, just to let everyone know for the new alders as well that's here tonight, that this is software and wherever you take money from, you have to basically balance that out. So if you in a space whereas you wanna like give money, you gotta be able to take it from somewhere else to balance this out. So just keep in mind that it's easier to give money in hardware, it's very hard to give money in software. So as you do your amendments, it may be beneficial to collaborate on, this team here around your amendments, because we may be thinking the same way, right? We may be thinking the same way and say, well, I want to get this person, I think this person, I think that. Whatever agency that is burning in your soul and your heart, right? It may be a situation that's maybe burning in the soul in my heart as well, that want to give to that agency. So it would be wise to collaborate with the colleagues about their amendments. Okay?
Thank you so much, Alderman. A really helpful comment. I believe Mr. Gizia also sent out sort of a list that he went over in our first meeting that basically lays out what you can or cannot do with amendments. So I definitely encourage colleagues to review that. I think it'd be also helpful if maybe you could send it one more time. I'll echo Alderman Gates' comments about that.
Send that out again.
Did you send it to?
I sent it to Jessica and.
Yeah.
Jessica, did you send it to all the, everyone on the committee?
I already sent it.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I did get it. Thank you.
Good.
Mr. Chair, I think that's excellent that we're gonna get that form again, so that way it can help, as Alderman Gates said, to help us all collectively figure out, because many of us probably are thinking the same things, and then rather than, coming together as the committee would be great to hear what our solutions are to all these concerns. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Rodriguez. We'll just say one last thing, unrelated, although if anyone else has anything else to say. This shouldn't be related to deliberations, I don't think, but with the help of Alder Douglas and Alder Rodriguez and former Alder Recchi, we included a question this year about internship and volunteer opportunities from projects. It's on one of these pages, and it laid out, whether a project had responded or not, whether they said yes or no. I think it'd be great if maybe we could try to formulate, what those responses were and have that as a list, just so, maybe at the end of deliberations, we can kind of put that out for folks in the community to know which organizations had internships, volunteer opportunities for high school or college students. So unrelated, but just wanted to add that. Alder Xavier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to commend our chairs who stepped into their roles on doing a very good job leading this committee through this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Xavier.
So, Mr. Chair, what we'll do is circle back with Alder Douglas so we can choose a date as Alder Wingate mentioned. Thank you.
That sounds perfect. All right, does anyone else have anything else to add? Alder Edwards?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? This meeting is now adjourned.
There's food in the back, by the way.